Hi, hello, my name is Gomer Joseph. I hope you've all been having a great day so far. Welcome back to another True Crime Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you, and I am so sorry. I meant to go ahead and upload a video last week, but unfortunately, real life got in the way, but praise God, I am back now. Before I discuss today's case, I'd like to mention my Christian suspense book series, Never As It Seems. The first book in the series is available on Amazon, and you can read it on any device on the Kindle app. But you can also get it for free if you have Amazon Prime. The link will be in the description box if you are interested. Today, I'll be discussing a requested case of the unsolved murder of Caylee Anthony. This is one case that I really wanted to stray away from ever since I started doing true crime YouTube videos, because I know how complicated and frustrating this case can be. As I researched it, I found so much information, and I pretty much decided to condense it as a way, by highlighting what I believed were the key points. This is a complicated case of he said, she said, and I was irritated by it, and I am positive that you will be too. Of course, this is a well-known case which ended in a very unpopular way. Now, I encourage you all to do your own research with this case and not to just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. Caylee Anthony was born on August 9th, 2005 in Orlando, Florida, to Casey Anthony, who had Caylee when she was 19. Now, Caylee's father, that is a mystery in itself. For some reason, Casey never felt the reason to reveal who Caylee's father was, and I'll go ahead and, discuss that in further detail. But pretty much, Caylee, she was known as a vibrant, beautiful, adorable little girl, and she was described as having a happy-go-lucky attitude in her short life. Ever since birth, Caylee lived with her mother Casey and Casey's parents, George and Cindy Anthony. Now, let's get a little deeper into the past. Casey dated a Jesse Grund, and when she fell pregnant, she told him that he was the father. But when Caylee was born earlier than he expected, Jason had his doubts. Because of these doubts, a paternity test was done, and it was revealed that he was not the father, which actually broke Jesse's heart. But he did not care. He still proposed to Casey, and they were engaged for 5 months until Casey unexpectedly broke off the engagement. Now, this is where things get a little off in this story. Casey claimed that she ended the engagement because he loved Caylee more than Casey, which is something Jesse denies. Jesse claims that Casey's mother, Cindy, had something to do with the engagement being broken off because, according to him, Cindy did not want her daughter and granddaughter taken out of her house. Now, what I do find strange was that Cindy did say in one interview that Caylee wasn't Casey's child, she was our child. Now, I'm not a grandparent, clearly, but Caylee was still Casey's daughter at the end of the day. Now, for any grandparent that is watching this video, hey, feel free to go ahead and share your thoughts about that in the comment section. On June 16th, 2008, according to Casey's father, George, Casey left the house with Caylee and wasn't seen for like a month. So basically, for this month, Casey was here, she was there, she's at this friend's house, she was at that friend's house. And according to, Jesse, Casey's brother Lee explained, according to Jesse, how Casey and Cindy had a serious disagreement the night before Casey left with her daughter. The argument consisted of her accusing Casey of stealing money from her mother, and according to Jesse, in his version of events, eventually things turned violent, but this is something that Cindy denies. After Casey and Caylee left, Cindy claimed that Casey would call daily, like I explained before, she'd be at this friend's house, she'd be at that friend's house. but for about 31 days, they never heard anything from their granddaughter Caylee specifically. In mid July 2008, Casey's car was discovered in a parking lot, and Caylee and Casey were nowhere to be seen. According to George and Cindy, they opened the trunk to find a foul odor. Now, I know things were already complicated, but this is where things get even more complicated. Cindy tracked Casey down at some boyfriend's place, then Casey claimed that Caylee was with this nanny, but like but a month before, you were living with your parents. So how are you able to afford, to afford a nanny? I mean, with my bank account, I know for sure I can't afford a nanny, and I don't even have kids. But it's like, how can you afford a nanny? So Cindy demanded to see Caylee, but when Casey refused to say where Caylee was, Cindy says that she went to the local police station and that it was closed, which is something I don't get either. Like, emergencies happen 24/7, and I would always assume that police stations are open 24/7. So why are the police stations closed? Eventually, Casey fessed up and told her parents that she hadn't seen her daughter in 31 days and claimed that the nanny kidnapped Caylee. Now, I was 11 years old when this happened, okay? This happened in 2008. I wasn't a parent then, and I'm not a parent now. But it's still like to this day, for like, gee, for like what, 13 years? For like 13 years, this has messed me up. And like I said, I wasn't a parent then, and I'm not a parent now. But if I ever do have children, there is no way that I'm gonna go a second not knowing where my child is without calling the police. For not even a second, but how in the world do you let your child go missing? For 31 days, I have been questioning this in my mind for years, and I know for sure, if y'all been keeping up with this case ever since 2008, I know for sure that you're thinking the same exact thing that I'm thinking too. So according to Cindy, after she discovers this messed up news, she frantically calls the police to notify them that Caylee was missing, and also stated that the car smelled like a dead body, but later on she claimed that she was only exaggerating. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Now, this is where Casey's words made police go back and forth trying to find her baby girl. She claimed that the nanny's name was, and I hope I'm saying this right, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. According to Casey, first the nanny lived in an apartment, then the nanny lived in a senior's home. But the nanny never lived in that apartment or senior's home. Because Casey had these police going round and round, they began to wonder if the nanny existed in the first place. Later, they found out that she did exist, but never communicated with Casey or anyone that she knew or anyone in the family. And this ended up ruining the real life Zenaida's life in the process. So far, Casey's looking like a liar, liar, pants on fire. Even stated that she worked at Universal Studios, which she did, but it was also false because, you know, she was fired and she never told her parents. She literally had the police walking around Universal Studios while she wasn't even employed there anymore. Yet she can still afford an nanny. Further into the investigation and search, it was discovered that while Casey's baby girl was missing for 31 days, might I remind you, while her baby was missing for 31 days, this is also something that, oh, I will never get over. Caylee Anthony was out having a good old time, jamming out in the club and everything. She was out partying, getting wasted, dancing around the club and everything. She was doing that without a care in the world, looking like without a care in the world where her daughter is. Like, please, somebody explain to me, how is your daughter missing for 31 days. Yet you're gonna be out here. The last thing that any sane parent would do when their child goes missing is to have a good old time jamming in the club. Like, please make it make sense. Because of all of this, Casey was finally charged with child neglect, rightfully so, and she was eventually released on bail with with like a $500,000 bond a month after she was charged. And a month after that, Casey turned herself in after receiving charges of check fraud, using fake IDs, and petty theft. Eventually, investigators believed that Caylee was no longer alive, and because of that theory, Casey was turning into their number one suspect. Because what's crazy is that 3 months before Caylee's disappearance, Casey's search history included neck breaking, household weapons, shovel, and how to use chloroform. Now, I'm an author. I kind of have an excuse to search up these things because I write suspense where people die. But in Casey's case, this seems pretty sketchy to just randomly look this up, and especially since chloroform was found in that abandoned car her parents discovered. On December 11th, 2008, remains of a child with duct tape wrapped around the skull placed in 2 garbage bags were found a quarter-mile away from the Anthony home. Over a week later, it was sadly announced that they belonged to 3-year-old Casey Anthony, and the cause of death was unknown. Now, before Caylee was discovered, the public was already outraged, and after learning about this little girl's death, people basically went crazy, even protesting at the Anthony home for months, demanding that Casey pay, since many people believed that she was responsible for Caylee's death. Now, George and Cindy have also and always stood by Casey and were certain that their daughter was innocent of Caylee's murder. A couple years go by, it takes a couple years for Casey to stand trial, but of course, with the trial, it came to an end on July 5th, 2011, after a pretty lengthy trial. Casey Anthony was found not guilty of her daughter Caylee's murder. And let me tell you, this was almost 10 years ago. I still remember how so many people were in disbelief after that. And because Casey Anthony was found not guilty, this pretty much makes his case unsolved to this day. It's crazy to think about like how much time has passed since all of this transpired. Like, I'm literally like at a loss for words. Like, as I grow older, like I just really realize like, wow, like time is so short. Because like I remember like these little news segments as a kid, just constantly coming and everything. And it's a very sad case. Like, it still really gets to me to this day, because it's crazy to think about how Caylee would be turning 16 years old, and it's just very heartbreaking to know that her precious life was taken too soon. And this little girl deserves justice, and I wholeheartedly believe that she will. And the God that I serve, the God of the Bible, is a God of justice, and He will make sure that justice is served. I thank you all for taking the time in your day to watch this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts on this case, please leave your thoughts in the comment section. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there's a certain true crime case that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see y'all for the next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to y'all later.